Mr. Michael Tarver, one of the members of Nexus. Hey,
what's going on?
Hey, Michael, what's up?
How you doing? How you guys doing?
I'm
doing
great.
Good.
Doing great. Fantastic to have you on, Michael.
Thank you. I appreciate it. My pleasure.
Yeah. All right. So, welcome to the show. If you're unfamiliar with it, we're just gonna do a typical interview. We're gonna ask you some questions about what your life in WWE was like and what it's like now and how you got into wrestling and all that. So, sound good?
Awesome. Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds
all right.
good.
So great. All right. So, Graham, you want to get started with the questions?
Sure.
I'm
so
ready.
Our first question, we'll just start before your WWE tenure real quick, just a real quick generic question. How you got your start in wrestling, what inspired you to become a wrestler, and all that jazz.
Well, I got my start in wrestling in 2004, and I actually always grew up watching wrestling. I grew up on NWA, WCW. I grew up on Four Horsemen, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, the Harlem Heat, Booker T, Doom, Ron Simmons, Butch Reed. That's all. I just grew up on that part of wrestling, and I became familiar with the WWF, WWE product in 2002, and I really started 2001 actually when WCW closed, and I fell in love with it, and I was always into wrestling growing up. My father was a professional boxer, so him and I and my family, we would watch NWA as a family actually, and I remember as a kid hating Ric Flair. It was amazing though. I just remember an episode of Ric Flair walked out with 6 girls, 3 on each arm with a suit on, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat ran out and beat him down and ripped his suit off and stripped him down to his underwear. It's funny because I've actually had a conversation with Ricky Steamboat about that very show. But I've been in mixed martial arts and played every sport under the sun. I've always been an entertainer and been into music, so wrestling just was a perfect fit.
Yeah, and it goes back to that time when heels were actually hated, I think as people get older, they start to not hate them, they just start to kind of analyze them and maybe even like them, as was happening with the Attitude Era, where people started to like the heels. So, yeah, but that's a great way to get into wrestling, and that seems to be a lot. They'll just see all these stars on TV and then realize, hey, I want to be like that, and then you get into it. Yeah.
Right. Well, you look at Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is a babyface through and through, but he's so polarized by the media just for being a babyface. It makes him a heel. And you look at someone like, any Playboy actor or like a Kim Kardashian or Paris Hilton, they're babyfaces. And these people are famous because they made sex tapes. So, the society has things flipped and reversed. And WWE it's a billion-dollar corporation. It's a brilliant company, and they understand that, and they capitalize on it.
Yeah, definitely. And, we saw some of the best wrestling ever in the Attitude Era when they realized that. So, yeah, one thing WWE is really good at is adjusting to the times.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Very good at that. So, all right, what's the next question, Graham?
Of course, so fast-forwarding, when you got signed to the WWE, I know you started off in FCW like most wrestlers do, their developmental territory. And what was your initial reaction when you found out that you would be participating in the first-ever inaugural season of WWE NXT, as well as your relationship with your pro, Carlito?
Well, I was actually very surprised, and I was very happy because, my time in FCW, it was roughly 2.5 years. It was rough, man. It was hard. FCW was no joke. Very competitive. So, knowing that I was getting a shot to finally debut and that it would be a new concept, and, being that it was NXT, I was very excited. We were all extremely excited. And Carlito and I, we didn't have a whole lot of dialogue, but he always said, when Carlito said something, I listened. And, he only really spoke when he needed to speak. He wasn't, overzealous with unnecessary advice and, unnecessary attention. I didn't get to spend a lot of time around him, but at the same time, when Carlito gave me advice when we spoke, I listened, and he always said exactly what he needed to say. But yeah, NXT, man, was exciting, very exciting.
Yeah, Now, what did you, when you heard about it, what did you think of the concept of NXT? It was kind of like a new Tough Enough, but at a totally different concept.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was excited about a chance to be on TV, but the idea of being on another Tough Enough.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
I was excited. I was excited. I just, I was a little nervous about it. It being a reality show or whatever the case may be, a Tough Enough type deal. But you know what though, I was open-minded, and and I went into it with the idea that I would finally, get a chance to show the world what I'm actually capable of. And when I've been doing an FCW for 2.5 years prior, and just basically went in with a full attack type mentality.
Yeah, and that's good. Now, what was your reaction when they came up to you and told you about the Nexus storyline?
We were all together when we were approached about the Nexus, and the funny thing is it didn't even have a name. We didn't even have a name at first. But when we were approached, basically, Wade Barrett was approached, and he approached us. What you see, I've said this in countless interviews, but it's the truth. What you see of Wade Barrett on TV is actually true. He is a natural-born leader. Wade Barrett is indeed a leader, and he will be a world champion. He'll be a WWE champion. Basically it was an offer we couldn't refuse. And we were told, and the way it was presented to us was that if you don't get this right, kiss your jobs goodbye. And this is your one and only shot to make history and to make an impact like this, because it's never really been done. I mean, there's been obviously huge impacts that have been made in the industry of professional wrestling, or sports entertainment, quote unquote. But nonetheless, what we did was something that was actually different. It had never been done before. So we were nervous, and we didn't tell a soul. We waited for our time, waited for our spot, and went out and destroyed everything.
Yeah, and I remember it was not that good of a Raw. It was a 3-hour Raw.
The power to the people thing. People's choice. That's what it was.
Yeah.
And then you guys came out, and we were just like, holy crap! I mean, it was just like out of the blue, amazing. Gave a great summer storyline. Yeah, I remember that was just amazing. It must have been awesome to be on the behind all that. And
it was cool. Well, I'm definitely glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was awesome. Now, you were part of when you're in NXT, you're part of the first elimination with Daniel Bryan. Now, did they? I'm not sure if you know this, but did they have the winner predetermined already, or did they just go with who the audience reacted to the best, and did they have the elimination order ready at all?
Well, I don't know. I can't say that they had the winner predetermined. I can say that they had an idea for what they wanted out of the show and who they wanted it out of, predetermined. So, I mean, which would explain some things about the show, but you would understand it more as a fan if you were familiar with all of us pre-NXT as far as our FCW work. And what I've gotten a lot of comments since that all of the things that people have seen me do on FCW television or on the internet from FCW, or even with my independent work before I even got signed, was nothing like what I did on NXT, or vice versa. What I did on NXT was nothing like what I did prior. And, it's just one of those things where you just basically, you eat or be eaten, so I had to react, and I made, decisions that I knew that if I wasn't going to win, that I was going to be the biggest loser, and if you're going down, go down in flames, so at least you go down with a bang. And it was just one of those things where I personally took it upon myself to strategize and make myself the most polarized part of the show, the biggest loser, the biggest heel on the show, basically in an effort to show that, I can get a reaction from the fans, and, negative or positive. I can get a reaction, period, without any help from WWE Creative, and that I was a valuable potential superstar. And it worked. And, and some people might say things, I have criticism or, comments about being the first person eliminated, but truth be told, in the first ever inaugural season of the first ever concept of NXT, I was the first person to ever have a match and the first person to ever be eliminated. So I was the first person to do a lot of things. Actually, I was the only person to be the first person to do a lot of things on that show.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Now, did they tell you beforehand when you were going to get eliminated?
No, we didn't actually know until that night. I kind of had an idea that my elimination was coming based on how I was doing on the show, which was why I took it upon myself to do certain things like, the challenges. A lot of people thought that I was written to lose challenges, to throw the challenges, and people want to make sense of what they're saying because they're a fan of the product, but sometimes it just doesn't make sense. Sometimes it just is what it is and you're seeing what you're seeing, but I took it upon myself to throw the challenges, and I did that because, once again, the idea is knowing that if I'm not going to win something, and it's in a field of 8 guys, second place means absolutely nothing, especially when it's in WWE or in entertainment. This is not an athletic sport, so second place is not the Olympics. So if I'm gonna entertain, then I'll be more entertaining being the biggest loser than I will be just another winner. And it worked. And people started to people at first didn't get Michael Tarver in the beginning because they didn't get a chance to actually see Michael Tarver do anything in the beginning of the season. And then towards the end, by the end of the season, they started to kind of understand Michael Tarver. Like, okay, he's kind of a bad apple, bad attitude, no nonsense, won't stand his ground, won't do anything, stubborn, whatever, bad guy kind of personality. And then with Nexus, it just fit perfectly. Yeah,
that definitely, your personality and the way you played your role on television really did fit the Nexus. Now, Graham, you got any more questions?
Yes, I have a few actually regarding NXT. One, I'd just love to say that you set the bar for the rebel-type persona on NXT, because if you saw the subsequent seasons of NXT, a lot of people repeated what you did, so you really set the bar for other characters on NXT for the preceding seasons. Now, also, something I wanted to say. You're welcome. And also, I watched your promo, and I still watch it to this day. It was probably my favorite promo of yours, the promo that you cut the week after you were eliminated, when you said that you took notice. Everything that you just said, that was my favorite promo, and that you said that you took notice and everyone remembered you, which is exactly why it made you one of the most memorable characters on the show. Now, you're welcome. And another question I have for you, just some random trivia. One, what happened to your gimmick, the Mr. 1.9 gimmick? Because I know they gave you that gimmick you still had that gimmick in FCW, and they hyped that for you when you came up to the main roster in NXT. And another random question, did you design your own T-shirts on that show? Because I remember your NWO T-shirt, your Run NXT T-shirts, because those are pretty awesome as well.
Thank you so much. Everything that you saw me do, I did on my own. Everything that you saw me do as Michael Tarver, I did on my own, 100% independently. I mean, other than being on television, WWE put me there. But the T-shirts, all my design. I designed on my own. Everything was my own design. And, I even presented them to the merchandising department and told them, sell them. Even after my season was over, I told them, sell them. You don't even have to sell them as Michael Tarver T-shirts. You can sell them as NXT T-shirts and make money off them, and it wasn't a successful attempt, but they would have made money. I mean, I've had fans tweet me pictures of themselves wearing Run NXT T-shirts that they got made themselves because they liked them so much, and obviously, the smart idea would be to market them and sell them myself, but, it's just a matter of being able to do it, and that's one of those things. And the 1.9 gimmick, once again, it was something else I came up with on my own. I came up with that at FCW. In my first year, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, because the character I came into FCW with, they shut down and said it was too abrasive. And basically what I was doing when I first got there on the independent scene, I was doing kind of a black supremacist Nation of Domination meets Taz suplex cute killer type deal. And, you know, I was like suplexing everybody else, you know, under the sun and cutting these really abrasive black supremacist type promos that weren't simple in any way. They were very, very to the point, and they made you think, but they were very heelish. But, you know, in a lot of conversations I had with Dusty Rhodes, who became my mentor, he basically said that I was capable of more than that, and I could do something that was more creative than that, because that's too simple. You know, they don't want to see. I don't want to present myself as the angry black man. I can be more than a gangbanger or a thug or a singer and dancer. You know what I mean? And which I appreciated that. So as time went by in the first year in FCW, I searched and tried to figure out what I could do. And I remember having a conversation with Arn Anderson. I asked him, what can I do? And he asked me about my background. I told him, well, I'm a boxer, kickboxer, and, you know, they said, why don't you use a knockout punch? I said, well, yeah, that's a great idea. And not too long after that, Big Show was knocking people out. But I don't know who started it first, but, you know, I know that it doesn't matter because with respect to the Big Show, it was something that I couldn't continue doing. But I came up with the 1.9-second gimmick in FCW, basically just, and it was, you know, was something that worked because, it, you know, it was very interesting and everyone was very interested in it. The idea of being able to count how long it takes to hit someone, and obviously 1.9 seconds being way more than enough time than it takes to land one strike. But I designed that way to be able to explain, to give myself a lot of leg room to do a lot of explanations of it, have promo room so I can, you know, explain it and talk about it and put it in different lights. You know, and then I tried to get rid of it. I came up with a completely different character that was received well. Started using it towards the end of my time in FCW before NXT, and I had a feud with Justin Gabriel over the FCW heavyweight title. It worked very well, and then once we went to NXT, I was told, go back to 1.9-second gimmick because, you know, in FCW, I was smart enough to know to get that knockout punch up because Big Show was doing it. But, you know, as a rookie, I didn't know what I was doing, so I was trying to do the best I could to follow directions, and so I did what I was told, and the rest is history. Yeah. So I did all this information, you know, and promotion on this knockout punch in 1.9 seconds where I learned from Mike Tyson's boxing camp and never got to knock anybody out. So, you know.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. Yeah. Next question, Graham.
Yeah, sure. So moving forward a little bit, this is referring to one of your other interviews that I listened to, I believe last year. Now, you don't need to comment on this if you don't wish to. It's fine. But there has been a well-known beef between you and John Cena. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Sure. You know, here's the funny thing, is that I don't really have anything against John Cena or anything personal. What I did was I had spoken out on Twitter about a personal situation I was going through right after I got released. And it was very personal. I was in kind of a rough place. And I made myself the victim of ambush journalism, and it was my fault, basically. You know, I set the plate and allowed a lot of these wrestling mark websites and all of that who found it interesting that I was speaking out, and I mentioned John Cena, and they made, you know, and they turned it into basically what it is now. And what I did was basically is I told the truth about my dealings with John Cena. Him and I didn't, you know, have a squeaky clean, great relationship. Like, it weren't enemies or anything like that. By no means was I on his level. But, you know, otherwise, you know, we just basically, we worked together. I did whatever, you know, I was instructed to do as far as with the whole Nexus thing, and I just spoke out and spoke my mind about what happened between us. And, you know, people kind of misunderstood it, which, you know, it's no one else's fault but mine. But I know beef with John Cena. Just, you know, what he did was what he did. It happened. And it isn't, I'm not the first person that that's happened to. And I won't be the last. So just the misconceptions grew that I was crying or complaining about him and have this horrible attitude and bad personality, and wrestlers are not the smartest people in the world. So wrestlers all over the world just assumed, oh, if he's talking about John Cena, then he's just a horrible person, when the truth is that I was the guy in the Nexus who showed up 2 hours early to the arena, was the first person in the ring, last person out, the only person training 4-3 show like as if I had a match. The only one who never had a match. I was the guy who was working harder than anyone else in that entire group. But it just is what it is. And like I said, I have the utmost respect for John Cena. And it's not a matter of us liking each other. We'll never see each other again. But it's just one of those things that it turned into something that it really shouldn't have turned into. But I also know, as a businessman, as an entertainer, if it's something that people will grab a hold to, like me releasing a video of me freestyling and calling out John Cena and I will never have a rap battle. But what a way to steal the show that I'm not even on, but to do a rap, call him out, and I'm actually a real rapper, and he's doing his John Cena rap on Monday Night Raw with his deal with The Rock, and people talked about it, and the video in a matter of hours had thousands of views on YouTube, and it's just something that the wrestling fans and marks or whatever, people who are brainwashed by wrestling and WWE and whatever, they might say and think what they want to say and think what they want to think, from negative to positive. The beauty of it is that they're talking about it. And that's the point. It's like, well, thank you, because you watched it and you're talking about it. That's the point.
Yeah. And I think that what us fans will do is we will see that, and then especially because it's Cena, who the internet really does not like, we'll just even overreact to that almost, and just go crazy over something that's actually kind of little. So, now my next question refers to your time with the Nexus. Is actually the first night. Daniel Bryan got fired for choking Justin Roberts with a tie. Now, what was your reaction when you heard about Daniel Bryan getting let go for that?
Oh, we were extremely surprised by that. We were all very surprised. None of us knew about it. None of us saw it coming. We all knew that Vince looked very highly on Bryan. And we knew, he was a project, and he saw a lot in Bryan, which there's a lot to see. He's extremely and incredibly talented, And opinions may be what they are and are what they may be, but, it was something that we were very surprised by. And we didn't know anything about him coming back on SummerSlam until the night of SummerSlam. We heard rumors, and, nothing is ever completely a secret. So we heard rumors, but, once SummerSlam came, we realized, okay, it's him. So, it was good to see him again and everything.
Yeah, and then you got to compete against him.
Yes,
that must have been fun. And then, what was it like? And did you know Daniel Bryan before FCW and Nexus and NXT?
No. I actually had never met him. I never met Bryan. I met Bryan the day he walked in to FCW when we were actually filming the vignettes that we shot, all of our personal vignettes and all of the video work for NXT. We spent hours for like 2 or 3 days straight at FCW filming all of the video work and everything, production work you saw for the entire season. And that was when I met him, and that was when I don't know if anyone else knew him, but I personally, that's when I met him. And I liked it from the moment I met him. He's a really nice guy. He's a very, very down-to-earth, very humble guy.
Yeah. And then, you hadn't met him, but had you at least heard of him? Because he was pretty big on the indie scene. Yeah.
Of course, I knew who Bryan Danielson was. I worked in these for 5 years before I got signed, anyways. Of course, I knew who he was. And I've watched a lot of his matches. I even told him, I studied one of his matches. Was him, low-key, was a good friend of mine, and Christopher Daniels, who I'm actually a big fan of as well. It was the three of them in a three-way on the first Ring of Honor. I don't know if it was the pay-per-view or whatever, but it was like one of their first shows or whatever. But it was a three-way between the three of them, and two of the guys that I trained with, we used to watch that match religiously and just study it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Now, and that leads into my next question. I'm off Wikipedia is lying to me. Your first win in NXT was against Bryan. What was it like? First of all, getting that first win in WWE, and then second against Daniel Bryan.
My first, My first win was my first win. It was against Bryan, And my second win was against Bryan, and those were my only 2 wins.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, as a singles competitor, truth be told, I only had like 5 matches my entire time you ever saw me on TV. Like 3 matches on NXT, and then all of the Nexus group matches and group efforts and things like that. But yeah, the only 2 matches that I've actually ever won on WWE TV was both against Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan, who was world champion. Go figure.
Now, backstage, do wrestlers refer to people by their real names or like their stage names, like in terms Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson? What would you refer to him as?
It's just whatever you're comfortable with. It's a respect thing, and it's always first and foremost a respect thing. Like I don't walk up to the Undertaker and call him Mark. I call him Taker like everyone else, and I show him the respect that he deserves. And same with a lot of the guys from that era and beyond. Like you don't walk up to Arn Anderson and call him anything but Arn Anderson. Same with Dusty. Same with anyone else for that matter. Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
You don't call them anything else but that. They earned the right to be called that, and they made that their names historical. So someone at my level, that's what I would call them. Someone at their level, they call each other, whatever they feel comfortable calling each other. But it's something that's not really that thought of. It's not really the biggest deal. It's kind of an invisible thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I can see that. So, Graham, do you have more questions?
I do. Actually, going back on what you said a couple minutes ago, I did see that rap video that you put out a couple months ago. Very well done, by the way. I just got to say that you are a very good rapper, so I do have to say that. But
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And after your tenure with the Nexus, it came to an end, ironically, to John Cena on television after you were injured by John Cena, unfortunately, in the show and in real life, obviously, via the groin injury. And then you were out for a number of months. And when they initiated the core back in January, I was hoping that you were going to be that 4th member of the group. Sadly, they put Ezekiel Jackson in that place instead. But the night that the Nexus attacked Teddy Long in late January, you were shown in a backstage vignette after Teddy Long was attacked. Now, that also started the string of showings of you backstage. Was this the start of any different angle that they had for you, or was this just something random that they had for you? Because personally, I thought you would have made a great mouthpiece for the core or any other group or any other superstar in general, but they never really made anything known after you were shown backstage in various segments. So what was the whole plan behind that?
AW. That was the plan.
Oh, really? Oh, you mean like what they're doing right now with Abraham Washington?
Yep, that was the plan. And truth be told, Abraham Washington is way better than I am. I stand by my abilities on the microphone, and I stand by my abilities to talk and cut a promo, and I will gladly say, and people just don't want to like me, some people just don't, but I will gladly say you can put me in the ring with anyone, and I will hold my own, if not compete. But Abraham Washington, I would say that at any day he's better than I am on mic. And same with Byron Saxton, another one that you don't really get to see on television. Those might be 2 of the best, if not the 2 best. Notwithstanding, CM Punk, John Cena, and Miz, Alex Riley also is another one with very serious talent as far as speaking. Wade Barrett and Drew McIntyre, a few other Sheamus, a few other guys as well. Zack Ryder, but and the Miz, but those 2 guys. But pretty much, Byron Saxton and Abraham Washington are very big fans of them. And the idea was because, of my ability, WWE has always been well aware of my ability to talk from the moment from when I got to FCW after 2 months. Little known fact is that I was already on the main roster on the road. I mean, not officially, but just on the road being looked at to be a manager. And, this is 2 months after being in FCW. Like 2 years before Nexus even, NXT even came about. And basically, it was just something that I was presented with, and I was willing to go along with it. And, I wanted to get back in the ring. And, when I saw the whole core thing, I wanted to be a part of it, but I wanted to be single. I wanted to actually get in and show what I can actually do because I felt like everyone else really got featured but myself and Skip Sheffield. and for the most part, Darren Young, but everyone else got featured to show what they can actually do, but myself. So, I wanted to get in and basically be a seamless competitor and show what I can and show what I'm capable of, and the things I had learned. And when I got injured, I spent off camera, off TV at FCW, working the full FCW schedule. Now, mind you, I had a torn groin in my right leg, and my right quad was purple, and I had to wear that sleeve on my right leg. I don't know if you remember that. Leading up to that, with the whole incident with Cena and the chair incident, my left arm was broken. It was fractured. And I didn't stop working. I also continued to work as well. And after that last match, I ended up with a bone bruise, a deep bone bruise in my left knee, which I should have had surgery on. And I couldn't actually bend my left leg. I couldn't lift my right knee. From the whole slamming on the steps incident, I ended up with a torn calf. My right calf was torn. But that's just part of the business. And I went off camera, went off the main. Well, I was still on the main roster, but went off Raw and went back to FCW and worked the full schedule. Never stopped wrestling. I didn't have surgery, which I should have, but I just rehabbed myself and just worked hurt until I healed and was ready to work full matches and go back up to the main roster. And that was when I started doing the deal when I was backstage.
Hey, Ben, you there? No, I guess my co-host just fell off the line. But anyway, back to what you were saying. Very, very. I'll probably find out what happened to him in a second. But anyway, back to what you were saying. Very, very interesting angle. I mean, it's a dang shame that they really didn't do anything with you after you got released from the company. I mean, before you got released from the company. And they really didn't do anything to really finalize it. Because as you were saying, the whole Abraham Washington thing that they're doing right now, I thought that was an exact replica of what you were doing right before you got released back in June. I mean, as you said,
wrestling fans aren't stupid. They know what they're saying. I'd be a fool to tell you, oh, no, it's different. You know what you're saying.
Exactly. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And people understand, people notice this kind of stuff. People notice, what happened with Michael Tarver backstage and all this kind of stuff. So, as I was saying, like you said, you said yourself that you may not be as good of a talker as Abraham Washington.
Right.
But personally, I thought you were probably just on his level, if not better, because as I said a couple minutes ago, you were probably one of the most intimidating forces on NXT Season 1 in the Nexus group as a whole. So my final question for you, you're welcome, and my final question for you, because my co-host fell off the line, so I'll just have to answer the rest of the question myself, but my final question for you would be, how do you sum up your entire experience in WWE as a whole?
Exciting. It was the best, worst job I ever had. It was the greatest, hardest experience I've ever been through. It was something that changed my life, in a lot of ways, positively and negatively, good and bad, but it was a blessing. And, I signed my contract in March of 2008, 2 days before my birthday, and I was homeless. And I was living out of a car holding a WWE contract from Vince McMahon. And, when I signed it and it went final, beginning of March, at the end of March, I found myself in the main event of WrestleMania, and and in the state of Florida, coming from Ohio, and it was a dream come true, and it's still a dream, and it's something that I still cherish and I'm happy about, and I thank God for, because it taught me a lot, inside the ring, outside the ring, and as far as aspects of it that have absolutely nothing to do with wrestling, and I thank God for it, and and it's something that I will never ever forget.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it's probably one of the most exciting experiences you'll ever experience in your life. And it was probably, as you said, I mean, it may not be one of the longest tenures that you had in WWE, or at least on television anyways, but still, it's probably a very memorable experience. And one other thing that I was going to ask you, I mean, a lot of people wanted me to ask you this as well. Any possibility of a jump over to TNA Wrestling?
I don't see that happening. I'm a fan of TNA. I support TNA, but I don't see that happening. That's not. I mean, there's no secret. I went and visited TNA and watched their show late last year, and it just wasn't something that. It wasn't something that either side basically. I spoke to a few people there, and I know a lot of people there. A lot of them are from WWE, so I spoke to some of the people there that I knew and just felt it out. You know, it wasn't something that was really going to happen. But TNA definitely had my support because the better they do, then the better the entire business does. You know, and the more they're able to compete with WWE, the more jobs there are for guys with talent. And TNA is full of guys who are very talented, and it's a different. I mean, they present themselves. They're still wrestling. They present themselves differently, which is perfectly fine because there has to be an alternative to WWE. But yeah, me going to TNA, that's not going to happen. They have my support though, but that's not going to happen.
I see what you mean. But you are having yourself preoccupied at the moment with your rap career and everything else going on at the moment. Because I do follow you on Twitter. You have a lot of positive tweets. I have to give you that. You have a lot of positive tweets, a lot of inspiring stuff with that. You're welcome. And yes, you do have yourself preoccupied if it's not on wrestling television, whether it be WWE or TNA or whatever. But I wanted to elaborate on your current status on what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm basically working on my ministry, and that's basically what my Twitter and Facebook account is based off of. I've been a musician my entire life, and I've always been an artist. And, you know, right now, the project, my main focus is my music and an album that is 50% done. So it's taking its time, but it's almost done. And the title of it will be Manic on Fire. By the grace of God, it will be released this year, but you know, so basically, I promote that and, you know, do other things as well. But that's pretty much it. You know, and I do a lot of missionary work and a lot of work in that manner. A lot of speaking. I work for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and I travel with them, speaking to a lot of different, you know, a lot of high schools and speaking a lot of different places. Basically, trying to use my powers for good, so to speak. But you know, because you have to take something positive from the experience and give it to someone else as something positive, you know, and that's you know, that's what life is about, you know, and that's what you do is you help people. And the WWE was a great experience for me. You know, who knows if you'll ever see me on WWE television again. You never say never in this business. If, you know, Eric Bischoff can walk out on Monday Night Raw and give Vince McMahon a hug, then, you know, you can't say that you'll never see Michael Tarver again. So, you know, who knows, you know, and whether it's on WWE or not, you will definitely see me again.
I certainly hope so. I really enjoyed your work in WWE, really enjoyed your work in NXT, as well as your rap singing, so keep those videos up. We enjoy watching them, enjoy your singing and rapping and whatnot. Also, keep up the positive tweets, by the way, too. They're very inspiring. I love that daily dose of injection of inspiration every day when I wake up, so got to give you that to you, too. But you're welcome. And yeah, no problem. So where can the fans catch you on Facebook, Twitter, and whatnot? You want to plug your social networking sites?
Of course. Yeah, Twitter at Tyrone Evans B20, Facebook at Ty Evans XB20X, or search Tyrone Evans Michael Tarver. I have a website, TyroneEvansB20.com. Basically, you know, I do a lot of work, a lot of modeling work, a lot of you know, behind the scenes acting work, and just basically just taking everything I learned from WWE and just, you know, planting seeds, but mainly just music. You know, I'm a musician by heart, so, and you'll see a lot of things on the internet that a lot of things as projects are coming to fruition. You'll see a lot of things on the internet really soon. But otherwise, you know, that's it. And one of these days, I'll be in a cage. One of these days. By the end of this year, I'm going to be in somebody's cage. So, you know. But, all right. But that's it. Thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. My co-host just notified me and said that he got kicked off the live stream for some odd reason. So thanks you for coming on, too, as well as I. We really do appreciate it. It was a really fun time. So thank you again for coming on. We hope we can talk to you soon. And also, good luck in your rapping career and whatnot. So have a good one.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You too.